Hey, Andre, what did you get out of this season? Considering their reluctance to play you early in the season, did you get enough playing time? Did you get enough experience in the second half to kind of feel comfortable going into year two?
Yeah, I was able to catch a rhythm and get used to playing with the guys that they have around me, and I feel like we was able to mesh in certain ways when it came to practice and then putting back on the game field. I think we did a good job. So I learned a lot, whether it was actually on the field or off the field, and just perfecting my craft. And so I got a lot of valuable lessons this year.
What was the hardest part about that first half of the season for you, where it was hard for you to get on the field?
I think it was just not what I expected. So my expectations were to come in and do a bunch of, great things right when I get to the NFL, but it doesn't always happen like that. So I think just, controlling what I can control and taking advantage of the opportunities I did get was the biggest thing for me.
Thank you.
Thanks, D-Rock. Let's go to Gary and then Mia.
Hey, Andre, at what point did you feel complete 100% healthy this past season?
I feel like once we went a few weeks into training camp and I was back used to moving around, I was good. Once I got cleared, I didn't get cleared early. I felt like 100% at that point. So
okay. And that said, now that you really don't have an off season where you're spending so much time rehabbing, what can you use with this coming off season to your advantage to get better without having to worry about your knee?
Yeah. Just overall, just training harder, doing things like working. Actually, I could work on speed. I'm not working on just running in general. I could work on speed and agility stuff. And I'll specify this off season as I plan with trainers and things like that. But in general, just being able to do everything is going to be a big advantage for me.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's go to Mia and then Mark.
Hey, Andre, can you kind of describe the bond between your rookie class? Trevor has obviously spoken and the veterans have spoken as well about the trying mentally, emotionally that this season effect had on everyone. What was the bond between your rookie class throughout the course of it?
Yeah, I would say we all kind of felt the same way in terms of we're going through, one of the hardest things you can see in the league where it's like coaching changes and a losing streak and things like that. So we kind of understood this is one of the worst things we'll see in our time, but we're getting in our first year. So we're getting out the way. So I think we kind of all bonded in that sense. And, me and Tyson grew close together because we're both DBs. And so I think we grew a real close bond as a rookie class.
Again, I know you've only been in the NFL a couple months, not even a full year at this point. What does this team need in a coach, in additional personnel to help bring it to a championship contender?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is going to be just being able to work together with the players. I feel like that's what, the players, we all worked really well together. I feel like we were all close and had a really good locker room bond. So a coach that, could advance that and use that to his advantage, I think that's the biggest thing.
Thanks, Andre.
Thanks, Mia. Let's go to Mark, and then we'll finish with John Reed.
Hey, Andre, what do you think the future for this secondary is? I mean, it looks like you guys got all the pieces between Rayshon, Shaq, Tyson, Rudy Ford, and yourself. You feel like, the sky's the limit and you guys are really going to be able to grow and mature and get a lot better together?
Yeah, 100%. I think, we saw from the beginning of the season to now, we saw a bunch of steps forward. So even though I wasn't on the field the whole time, I was watching it and I was like, I enjoyed watching it. And watching those boys play together and communicate and do the right things on the field, and it would carry over from practice to the game. So those type of things, that's important. We watch film together and things like that, and I think if we keep that up and communicate this offseason and get together and do things that just bonding in general, I think we'll continue to take those steps forward.
Thanks. Let's go to John Reed, and then we'll take the very last one from Gene Burnett.
No problem. How you doing, my man? What made it difficult for you to grasp the defense, and if you had to make checks and calls, how difficult was that early in the season for you?
I wouldn't say it was something that was very difficult. I think just executing is something that takes time, and you got to catch a rhythm, especially at a position like safety. You got to get a feel for the game, understand what's going on, and just get a feel for the overall, rhythm of the game. So for me, that's the biggest thing is just really getting a rhythm. So I wouldn't say I was struggling with calls or the defense in general. I think it was just, adjusting to the NFL game.
And just a follow up, how does a guy like you keep up with a coaching search? Do you check in with the team? How will you keep up with that situation as a player?
I'll just wait till someone texts me and says we got a new coach. Honestly, I'm not gonna check for who we're interviewing. I don't try to get into that too much. So once we get one, I'll find out and move from there, I guess.
I think Mia said something, but what do you hope to get as a coach?
Definitely someone who's just gonna, well, if you ask me personally, just if it came to like if we had a new defensive staff, then I would say like someone's gonna use my abilities, the way that I see it, being moved around as a piece in the defense. And I think personally that's how I see it as like a head coach. I guess just someone that's a leader and has a vision, to build a winning organization. I think that's the biggest thing. Pretty general, but that's how I see it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Gene, let's wrap it up with you.
Hey, Andre, you just talked about wanting a coach who's a leader and has a vision. When you first got here to the Jaguars and proceeded through training camp and all that, did you not think that Urban Meyer had that, or did you think he did have it and it just got sideways as time went on?
No, I think that was the first thing that we built, was like that vision, and he told us, he was leading by example with being a winning coach in his history. So once we started losing, I think just when you're taking losses but the vision was to win, then it's you just got to stay consistent on what the vision was, and I think that's the biggest thing that we might have fell off course a little bit.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gene. Thanks, Andre. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Followed by Gene Fournette.
What's going on, Tyson? Can you just talk about how this season kind of went for you? Early in the year, there were some struggles, but by the end of the year, you really hit that stride and kind of got your play pretty close to probably where you wanted it to be all season long. And then now you finish off the year with a win and head into the offseason. What does the offseason kind of look like, and how do you keep that momentum that you built throughout the course of the season rolling into next year?
I would say, like you said, the beginning of the season was a little bit of growth pains, getting used to, the speed of the game and, finding myself in the defense. But, I stuck with it, kept working hard, kept trusting my position coaches, Coach Walt, Coach Joe Daniel. And, just kept pushing, man, just never gave up. And just having faith in God that, eventually it's all going to come together for me. And when it did, of course, I stayed humble and stayed, focused. And the main goal is to just get better each and every week. And I just took it that way. And then I took it as, a day-by-day mindset, just trying to find something to get better at each and every day. So, I'm definitely, glad about this win we had yesterday, finishing, on the right note and having some having some momentum come into next season. But this, this off season, I just want to get better in every aspect, whether it be, lifting weights, and then, of course, working on technique. But yeah.
And I know y'all got a busy day of getting around the building, but any trash talk for the national championship game?
No, not really. Karen Robinson, he gave me a little trash talk, but other than that, everybody think the Dogs don't win. So it's been pretty good so far in the building.
All right,
Appreciate
let's
you,
go.
Tyson.
Thanks, Jamal. Let's go to Gene. Gene, if you can turn your camera on, and then we'll go to Mia and Gary.
Tyson, when you think about next year, what is the one characteristic you want to see in the head coach and the coaching staff?
Just winning. That's about it. Just everybody wants to win. So if everybody has that mindset, we're gonna be in good hands. But I trust the management, everyone upstairs to, find the perfect course for this organization. So, I have no worries about that.
Okay, so when you say winning, what do you think the head coach and the coaching staff, what's the one thing they really have to do to promote that with the players?
I mean, I think it's just everyone. It's just everyone got to, buy in. So that's what it all comes down to.
Thanks.
Thanks. Let's go to Mia and then Gary.
Hi, Tyson. We just talked to Andre, and he mentioned his relationship with you and how that has grown, especially over the second half of the season. What is your relationship like with him and the rest of the rookies this year, despite everything that went on, maybe how that relationship with the other guys in your class has grown?
You said Andre?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cisco.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Andre is somebody that, I knew, prior to the draft. I trained with him in California for the pre-draft process. We were at the same agency. So, once I found out he was, coming to Jacksonville, I was excited. His locker is right next to mine. So, it just felt like we just kind of grew up together, in the NFL. So it was just cool to see us, both grind together and, excel in this league together. So, he's one of my closest friends on the team. And I'm excited the future us two have together. And just everyone else in the room, I just felt like this team was just so tightly knitted together, man. We always, want the best for each other. I think that just kept us, pushing throughout the season, no matter what adversity we faced. And I was just I was just happy to see us, stick together and do well in these last games.
I know you're from South FLA. So off-season plans, will you be sticking around Florida or do you go back to California? I know it's your first off-season. So what kind of goes into deciding what you're going to do training-wise, personally-wise, everything else before you guys get back in the building in the spring?
Yeah, I'm probably going to be in Florida majority of the time. I may check out California for a little bit, but I really got some thinking to do. So, I don't know for sure a couple of days, but, Florida definitely though.
Awesome. Thanks, Mia. All right. Last question to Gary, and then we'll be done with you, Tyson.
Hey, Tyson, you had a really good mentality against the run, and not every cornerback in NFL history has been like that. I mean, Exhibit A is Dion. But I'm wondering if your mentality and coming up and run support, was that something that Kirby demanded of you guys at Georgia, or is that something you've had since you were playing in Pop Warner?
I've always had a mentality. I feel like if you're on defense, you're part of those 11 guys on the field. So you have just as much of the responsibility to, make tackles and make plays all over the field, whether you're a corner, D lineman, or, a linebacker. So I always pride myself as, being physical and relentless, whether it be in the pass game or the run game.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Thank you, Tyson. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, then we'll go ahead and go to Mark Long.
Hey, Damien. How big was that win yesterday, and what can that do for you guys in the off season, carrying into, what's expected to be a lot of changes moving forward?
I think the win was pretty significant. Maybe not just in the grand scheme of things, but for the organization's mentality going forward, and just showing that it's there, and we can have games like that. It's not like the Colts were resting their players. They was playing this, to get in the playoffs. It was essentially a playoff game for them. So we can beat the competition in our division, and we can play like that, like more consistently.
Is it like you said, for the organization, you come in, Urban Meyer comes in, all these guys come in with a 15-game losing streak that they weren't part of? Is that what you're talking about? Like you're going to get this new staff, and all of a sudden you don't end up with a 9-game losing streak kind of baggage, that all of a sudden you've got a 1-game winning streak going into next season?
Yeah, just momentum to build on. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Let's go to Demetrius and then John Reed.
Hey, Damon, you kind of touched on it, but just like from an individual performance standpoint, I mean, 2 turnovers. How'd you feel you played yesterday, and sort of can you also expand on, how important it was for you guys as a team to make sure the Colts didn't get in the playoffs?
Well, I think it was I forgot who it was during the week, and they said that the Colts haven't won in Jacksonville in
Since 2014.
Yeah, 2014. You don't want to be the team that gives up that streak. So I think that's what we were focusing on doing, and we knocked out a division opponent. So that's double bubble.
Yeah, and then just your performance, the interception, forced fumble. How did that feel to go out with a bang, basically?
Oh, it felt pretty good, man. And anytime we can get turnovers, it's a good thing. So we got 2 of them yesterday, so I can't complain.
And then your offseason might be a little bit different than all the rest. I mean, I think you're an impending free agent. So just what is that going to be like for you? And how quickly do you start getting the ball rolling on all of that?
I really can't say right now, to be honest with you. Right now, I'm just going to enjoy, a little off time in January, probably crank it back up the workouts in February, and then we'll go from there.
Thanks, Demetrius. Let's go to John Reed and then Mike Duraco.
How you doing, Damien? As a team, as players, did you guys meet together and just kind of come to a conclusion that the best way we can finish out is just play loose and free and that kind of thing? Did you meet individual as players group?
To be honest, we didn't, man. I mean, but I didn't think we have to, because it was during the week. We had the same week of preparation, the same message, and we got such a good and great group of guys that we knew that no one would just, quit, lay down, be like, oh, it's the last game, who cares, type thing. So everyone came to play. Everyone decided to play hard and free.
And with a new coaching staff, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of changes. What do you feel about the core on your defense? Do you think it should stay intact, or you feel that core on defense is good enough?
Well, to be honest, our defense coordinator, Joe Cullen, I feel like he's done a great job. You put the defenses side by side from last year, and you can see the growth, and that's only like year 1. And defenses in year 2, they're statistically better. So if we want to have some consistency and more growth, then I wouldn't fuss over keeping Joe Cullen.
And just one more question, man. What was the toughest aspect of the season for you?
Toughest aspect of the season is just to be honest, once you get past week 9 or week 10, it's just, managing your load at practice, getting ready for the game.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, John. Let's go to D-Rock and then Brian Sexton.
Damien, you've been on other teams and made some playoff runs, obviously. In terms of mental exhaustion, is what you guys went through this year and all the distractions and all the drama harder to deal with as opposed to going through, a playoff run after a long season?
Not really, because when you're going through that playoff run after a long season, winning makes everything better. So if you're in the playoffs, you've been winning. So, your mood is better. You're probably more fresh. You just got a better mindset, but when you're on the opposite end of it, losing magnifies things. So every little thing was under a microscope. So that's the difference between those two.
For you this year, was this one of the toughest of your careers because of that, or one of the toughest of your career because of that?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, D-Rock. Let's go to Brian Sexton and then Jamal.
Hey, Damien, I want to go back to the division. You talked about beating the teams in the division. Yesterday ended a 10-game losing streak for this team in the AFC South. So can you just touch again on how important it is to be able to compete with those teams you play twice a year? And then the other question, Jonathan Taylor had a big run against you guys right out of the gate in November, and since then did nothing. How did you adjust to the NFL's leading rusher and a guy that you're going to have to be able to stop over the next couple of years if you're going to beat them?
I mean, to be honest, that was our focal point. That was our focal point all week. We know who Jonathan Taylor is: fast, explosive, can make every cut, run through his arm tackles. He's a complete package of running back. So we have to play defense, team defense, to take him out of the game and make him throw the ball. We wanted the ball in Carson Wentz's hands and then make him make decisions.
And can you touch on real quick just the importance of being able to beat the teams in the division? I mean, it's been 31 weeks of an NFL season since this franchise had beaten an AFC South team and 10 straight losses.
Well, yeah, man, that's just that's tough right there. And the chances of making the playoffs is 0 when that happens. So in order to get where we want to go, every team in this league wants to win a Super Bowl. You got to beat your division opponents. That's how you win the division. That's how you go to the playoffs.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Let's go to Jamal, and then we'll finish with Mia and John Osher.
What's up, man? You kind of gave your sales pitch to keep Joe Cullen in place. What about Coach Bevel? What sort of job has he done as the interim head coach since taking over?
I think Bev has done a great job of just managing the team, man. Maybe he did or didn't see Coach Meyer leaving, but since he came in, I'd say he's done a pretty good job.
Appreciate you.
All right, Mia, and then John.
Hi, Damien. Let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, the green dot on the helmet and who is the signal caller. I know you guys started with Miles. Coach Meyer did the infamous deep dive, and then they moved away from Miles. Number one, how did you guys finally settle in on one guy? And number two, how strange was it that you guys were bopping around between different people throughout the course of the season?
It wasn't that strange. I mean, Miles, he's one of the best linebackers in the league, and when he doesn't have to focus on making the calls and stuff like that, he's even better. So it really doesn't bother me all that much making a call. So it was a no-brainer.
With you and Miles, I know, again, like you said, part of it is when he's not making the calls, he's one of the best linebackers in the NFL. What was the evolution of this linebacking group that obviously, you get Joe Schobert gets traded 2-3 weeks before the season. You have some young guys like Shaq and Russell step in. What was kind of the evolution of this group?
I mean, we're a pretty tight group. Well, we got to be pretty tight group as the season went on, man. We hang out outside of the building, and to be honest, we got some very, very capable guys. Like, I feel 100% confident, like, going out the game to take a blow, knowing the Shaq coming in, because Shaq, he might, make an amazing, spectacular play. And the same go with Deuce and Dakota and, just our whole room.
And one last thing for me, while we're on the subject of the room, Charlie Strong, your relationship with him, this was obviously his first foray into the NFL. If, where do you, in talking to him, what do you see his role potentially going forward here or elsewhere?
Well, I'm not in charge of any of that stuff, so I really couldn't give you an answer on that.
Gotcha. But you enjoyed working with him this year?
For sure.
All right. Thanks, Mia. We'll go over to John Osher.
Hey, Damien, you've been around a lot of great players in the NFL, seen them. What's your assessment or, I guess, opinion of Josh Allen, and what can he be moving forward, Josh Allen?
I mean, Josh Allen's a freak athlete. You just got to look at him and you can see that. But I don't think he's as good as he's going to be. He hasn't hit his ceiling yet, you know what I mean? So each and every year he's going to grow, man, and who knows how far he can take it.
Thank you.
Hello. All right. Thank you. And thank you, Damien. Appreciate your time.
All right. Appreciate it. See you guys.
All right, Matt.
Yes, I can.
All right. We're going to get started with Mia O'Brien, followed by Mike DeRocco.
Awesome.
Hey, Matt, for you, I know you joined this team mid-season, you get thrown on a plane to London, and here we are, 10, 12 weeks later. Can you just describe what this roller coaster of a season has been like for you?
It's been a lot, but really I'm just here trying to kick the ball through the uprights each and every week. So that's kind of what I focus on. Just if I can do that well during the week, then hopefully come out on game days and do that well, then I took care of my job.
How was the leg feeling yesterday? 4 for 4. Probably feeling pretty good after that one, right?
Yeah, that felt good. That was a bit of a workout. But yeah, felt good to see them all go through. And then working with Joe this week was nice to get a new holder and actually get some work in during the week and then go out and execute.
Thanks, Mia. We're going to go to D-Rock and then JP Shadrick.
What do you think your future holds here? Would you like to stay? How are you going to kind of approach the next couple of weeks, months?
Yeah, obviously I'd like to stay. But I mean, I can only control what I can control. So I'm just going to keep trying to kick the ball as well as I possibly can, and then work on getting bigger, stronger, and kicking off better in this offseason, and then just keep going from there.
Thanks, D-Rock. Let's go to JP and then Ashlyn.
Couple things. How difficult is it to change holders as many times as you did? How different technically is that to start with?
Technically nothing should really change. The only thing that changes is the trust. So obviously me and Logan have done it hundreds, probably thousands of times. So there's a trust there that I know where the ball is going to be and how it's going to be. So it's just a trust thing. But if we're all professionals, so the holders are professionals too. So they do their jobs well.
And secondly, do you still have a desk at Lockheed Martin? Do you plan on going back and doing some of that in the off season?
Not sure if I do, but they did save my desk for quite some time. They were very nice to me, but I do not plan on going back.
All right, thanks, JP. All right, Ashlyn, you want to go ahead?
Hey, Matt, I know it's probably unrealistic to think that you could describe this season in one word, but if you could try, how would you describe this, and how important is it to just kind of hit the refresh button and take a couple weeks here to just cool down from everything that happened?
Yeah, it's huge. I'm probably not going to touch football for a couple weeks and just relax and kind of just, like you said, refresh and just get ready for next year.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashlyn. And thanks, Matt. That's all we need from you today. You are free to go enjoy your off season.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. All right, we're going to start with Gene Fournette and then Jamal.
Could you just, I know there have been at times of this season where it's been a struggle for you, whether it was sometimes with holding calls or what have you, but when you look back on this season, will you remember more the struggles, or will you remember more how you can learn from them?
I remember everything, man. It's just all learning experience, nobody's going to be perfect, and nothing ever be perfect in the game of football. You just got to push through. You have tests, you have, different things that'll be hard and different things you'll face throughout the year. But adversity, it comes with everybody, it comes with the game. So, you just got to learn from it and keep moving.
As a follow up to that, do you think that you will learn in a way that you will see your best strides going into next year? In other words, more so than you had from year 1 to year 2, year 2 to year 3, things like that.
Definitely. I'm only going to get better from here. I got definitely better than last year, and I definitely had improvements from last year. So just getting better year in year, every year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Jamal and then John.
What's up, Jawaan? There's been a lot of talk about how odd this season has been. Just how different was this year from your previous years around the Jaguars?
It was just, we had adversity throughout the year, but, we just always had to keep positive mindset and just keep moving. That was just a whole goal throughout the year, just, taking one game at a time and just play hard and practice hard, and that's all we did throughout the year.
And what sort of job did Coach Bevel do once he took over as the interim? Did you think he did a pretty good job of helping kind of stabilize things the last few weeks?
Definitely. Coach Bevel stepped up and did a great job, man. And we all just bought into what he needed us to do and get done. And, he did an awesome job with us.
Appreciate you, Jawaan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamal. Let's go to John Reed.
How you doing, my man? Why was some aspects was more difficult for you than last season?
Really, I didn't feel like anything was difficult. I just went out and did my job, and just made sure I was healthy and available for my teammates, and just making sure I just try to play consistent as much as I can throughout the season.
Do you feel that the line as is right now? Do you expect changes for your unit when this news?
To be honest, I don't know. We'll see what happens when a new coach comes in. But hopefully everybody sticks around. I feel like we got a pretty solid line. We were top 10 in a lot of different aspects throughout the season. So, I feel like we got a good amount of players on the offensive line to get the job done.
And last, has there been any conversations with I guess you wouldn't know that if you're not sure if your coach coming back, but would you, if somebody asked you to move to inside guard, would that be an insult to you?
I'm not an offensive guard, so yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ben.
Thanks, John. We're going to finish up with two more. We'll go with Demetrius Harvey and JP Shedrick.
Jawaan, obviously there's a bunch of changes coming through your way, a new head coach. What do you think this team needs as far as a head coach? I mean, Miles talked about needing a leader of men and other things like that. What do you think this team needs?
We could definitely use some leadership. And I feel like different guys have stepped up this year and became great leaders for us. I just feel like we need leadership from the top down, from coaches to players and everybody. So, everybody can step up and lead.
And then George Warhop might not be here next year. Obviously, that you don't know with the coaching changes. Just how much has he made an impact on your career?
Made a tremendous impact, man. He took a leap of faith on me out of any team in the NFL in the draft process, and I'm always forever grateful for that. So, he also made me a better player from, every aspect throughout the game. And I learned so much from him and his experience being a coach in the NFL, and I just soaked in everything I could soak in from him.
Thank you.
All right, last question with JP Shedrick.
Hey, Jawaan, how did you see Trevor progress as a leader as the year went on, coming in as a rookie, building as the season went along and towards the end? And what does the future hold for a guy like him in this locker room?
I see a great future for Trevor. He's a great leader. He came in from day one leading us, and, we all bought into what he needed us to do. And, we all love him. And we just want to see him get better and better from here. And he had a great year, man. We just loved all the progression he had throughout the year. It's only going to get better for him. He's going to be a great player.
All right, thanks, JP. And thanks, Jawaan. You're all done. Appreciate your time today.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, we're going to get started with Mia O'Brien. Her hand is up in the air.
Hey, Dare, you've obviously been in the league for a couple of years now with a couple of different organizations. Can you just describe what occurred? I know that's a loaded question, but with the Jaguars, with this team this season, going through everything you guys went through.
It was definitely a different season than a lot of us have had. Just obviously having a new coach and then not going the whole season with the coach, but it says a lot about the locker room, how we didn't, fall apart. Guys stayed close and we had good leadership within the locker room, and guys still played, still played hard, still wanted to win games. So it was definitely a challenge, just from the standpoint that obviously things were just kind of all over the place, and it was well documented. Everybody saw it, but at the same time, we were able to still stay together and not fall apart as a team. So that was definitely a blessing.
Was there any, one person or a couple people that you would credit with really keeping this locker room together?
No, I wouldn't say one person. I would just say it's just the chemistry that we had. As the season went on, we got closer. Obstacles came, we kind of overcame them together, which brought us closer as a team. So I would just say it was just the whole team as a unit, guys just rallying around each other, picking each other up and helping each other know that, it's about us really. It doesn't really matter who's the coach or who's kind of leading us. It's about the players, and we made sure we took care of business.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Mia. Let's go to D-Rock and then Ashlyn.
Hey, Dari, did you sometimes find yourself forgetting that Trevor was just 22 years old in terms of his leadership ability? I mean, it's kind of rare for a kid that young at that position to kind of lead the way he did in the circumstances he did.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely was impressed by the way he led us. He like I was just saying, it was a tough season for everybody, and for that to be a rookie year, to have to go through a season like this is had to be a challenge. But he stayed positive and kept us positive and kept us confident.
Would it have been, I think, understandable from a veteran standpoint if he had really kind of struggled through that, just because of this, like you said, this was something most people have never ever dealt with?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's understandable to watch any rookie struggle. I don't think necessarily just because of the hype or the expectations he had on him, that changes anything. I mean, you go into a season expecting a rookie to find challenges, but I feel like he attacked those better than a lot of rookies I've seen. And like I said, I mean, it was a nightmare season to have for a rookie. I mean, to have to deal with the things that we dealt with. It was definitely tough. It had to be tough for him to deal with, but he overcame it and was able to lead us. And I'm looking forward to watching him in the future.
Thanks, Bo. Appreciate it.
Thanks, D-Rock. Let's go to Ashlyn Sullivan.
Hey, Dare, it was a especially tough season for James Robinson. How did you see him handle that adversity? What's your relationship like, and where do you see him going forward?
James is like my brother, so I definitely see him getting back to where he needs to be as far as playing wise. He's very positive, so the adversity, I don't think that's going to be a challenge for him. I mean, we talk about it all the time. He's been battling adversity his whole life, so I'm not too worried about that part of it. It's just making sure that his body gets back to where it needs to be after his injury and after his rehab. And I know he'll attack rehab, so I'm excited to see him as well as he goes forward with that.
Thanks, Ashlyn. All right, let's go to Mark Long.
Hi, Dare. Thank you. You said something about that struck my interest here. You said it was a nightmare season for a rookie in terms of what you had to go through. What about for a veteran, though? Wasn't it the same kind of a nightmare for all of you guys on some level?
I wouldn't call it a nightmare for me, just because, I mean, being in the league, you kind of learn to expect the unexpected, and anything, things can go any way. For a rookie, just for that being your first exposure to the NFL, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine I'm having to go through that. For me, and I know a lot of older guys, when you've seen a bunch of different locker rooms, seen different ways that people handle things, you kind of learn to roll with the punches and learn to kind of adapt and overcome.
All right, thanks. Looks like that is the last question for you, so you're off the hook. I appreciate. Oh no, hold on. Mia's waving her hand. Do you have another one, Mia?
I was waving goodbye, but I did have another question. I did have another question though too. As we're talking about James and your relationship with him, Dare, I know you guys and Coach Parmalee kind of got thrown into a fire you didn't really ask for back in December. What is your relationship with Coach Parmalee? And just talk about the unity of this running back room and after everything that transpired.
Yeah, man, it was funny. Yeah, I would say it was funny. We were all able to laugh about it. Coach Parma's a great guy. He's a great coach. You're not often where you get to learn, your position from someone who played it at a high level for 9 years. So, I mean, we take everything that he says very seriously. And he talks about a lot of stuff off the field as well. He's just a great guy, great man that we were able to learn from this season. And our unit, I mean, I feel like that made us closer just because we know what kind of coach he is. And we saw the kind of the I wouldn't say backlash, but kind of the negativity getting thrown at him all over the place. And he didn't deserve it just because, I mean, we know how good of a coach he is. And, he was doing his job, and he was trying to help us win games, put us in situations to win games. And Coach Farm's a great guy, and this running back room was a great unit. And obviously, we ended the season with different guys than we started with, but I mean, all of us we stayed close, stayed together, and we're able to lift each other up. And Coach Parm was the reason for all of that. So we all appreciate Coach Parm big time.
And thanks, Mia. All right, last question for real to JP Shadrick.
For real. So you were tied for the team high in special teams tackles this year, 7 of them. You know, towards the end of the season, some coverage things broke down. There were a couple of scores, long returns. As the season went along, how are the coverage units? How difficult is it when you have guys coming in and out of the roster all the time towards the end of the season? And how do you think you guys did overall on teams?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say we didn't end the season the way we would have liked. A lot of guys weren't able to kind of be out there on the coverage units like we would have liked. I mean, I love covering kicks, covering punts, and obviously with James getting hurt, I couldn't do it as much as I would have liked to. But yeah, I would say in general, having a young special teams unit like we did, I was still pleased with how we played, and we showed signs that we could be a very good special teams unit. But like I said, there was a lot of challenges that we had to overcome, whether that was personnel or just kind of guys not having the chemistry. Because the special teams is a lot of chemistry, just being able to trust guys, being in their position and stuff like that. But for the most part, I would say that it was a good season special teams wise, and personally, I was happy with how I did as well. And I'm excited putting that stuff on tape moving forward.
Thank you, Dare. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, JP. And thank you, Dare. You are done. Enjoy the off season. Thank you.
I'll try. Thank you.